Financial success is not reserved for the wealthy or privileged. It is not based on insider knowledge or birthright. You don't need a hot stock tip or an inheritance. You need basic principles that can be followed by anyone to gain success. Welcome to Retirement Mentorship. I am your host, Freeman Lindy. I'm the co-founder of Lacrosse Financial Planning, a certified financial planner, a licensed tax expert and preparer, and the author of 3D Retirement Income. I've helped dozens of clients retire successfully and stay successfully retired. I do that by working one-on-one with them through my financial planning practice and through teaching and reinforcing strategies through this YouTube channel and podcast. We've covered the first 4 principles in this video here and links in the description. If you haven't watched those or listened to them, pause this, go consume that first, and then come back and watch this one. We ended that last video by noting that while the knowledge of finances is crucial, if knowledge were enough, we'd all be billionaires with 6-pack abs. So what's missing? That leads us to the next principle. Pillar number 5, belief. Action alone improves lives. It doesn't matter what you know. It won't change anything if you don't act on it. Knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. You can read all about finances, but it's useless if you don't do any of it. Why do few follow through? Lack of knowledge? Sometimes. Lack of discipline? Yeah, probably. Because life gets in the way? A ubiquitous excuse and only an excuse. I believe it's because we don't believe. People act on what they believe, not on what they know. Knowing is not enough. Acting is all that matters. You must know before you can act. But what's the missing link between knowing and acting? It is belief. Sometimes I find myself in a season of poor eating. I love ice cream a lot. I enjoy large lunches with heavy carbs. I'm not too fond of the blah feeling afterwards, but the taste buds get the better of my discipline. Then I might read, eating vegetables and nuts for lunch will make you healthier, help you lose weight, and give you more energy and focus in the afternoon. Okay, now I know. But reading that is not going to change my habits or desires. Then I listen to an audiobook like Eat Fat, Get Thin or Fiber Fueled. Rather than 8 seconds to read a sentence about eating healthier, I'm listening to 8 hours of the message. These books are full of testimonies, science, interesting facts, humor, and aha moments. And by the end, I know how to eat healthier, and I want to. I believe. I can see how eating better would help me, and I'm inspired to try. I want its benefits, and I believe they will work for me. Then I hear that my business partner, Michael, has been eating salads for lunch every day for a couple of weeks. The testimony of his improved energy and focus adds to additional belief. Now I don't merely know, I believe, and I act. I begin preparing meals. I add all the vegetables and toppings I need to a grocery order. I chop up the vegetables on Sunday to be ready to go, and then I prepare my lunch salad for the next day. I create it with a routine mix of shredded carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, snap peas, multicolored peppers, and cucumbers. And let's be honest, while all that packed micronutrients and vitamins is in there, it doesn't taste that good at all. Here's the secret. You can make it taste good by adding healthy toppings. I add a whole avocado and add rich taste and nutritious fat. It nearly eliminates all the need for dressing. Almonds, cashews, walnuts, they give it a tasty crunch and provide protein and more healthy fats. Hard-boiled eggs supply additional protein and a new texture. And a bit of shredded chicken is all you need for a different taste. All the nutrition and so much flavor. It tastes so good, and I have so much more energy throughout the afternoon. I believe, I acted. The action reinforced the belief, and I keep acting. That was years ago now, and I've eaten a healthy salad for lunch almost every day since. Life changing. First you know, then you believe, then you act. This video is not about nutrition, so what does any of this have to do with financial planning? Well, there are 4 levels of belief regarding financial planning. Number 1, when you know yet don't believe. Number 2, when you know and believe. Number 3, when you don't know but still believe. And number 4, when no one can know and you still believe. So level 1, when you know but don't yet believe. This is the level where I know I should save more for retirement, but you don't honestly believe you should, and therefore you don't. You heard it once or twice, you know in the sense that you have accumulated that knowledge, but it is not translated into action. Many people have this level of belief, basically none. They have amassed a lot of useful and useless financial information, and they haven't taken time or hired someone to sift through the information and to reorganize it into a plan of action that they can actually follow. People must push past this level of belief. Planning your finances so that you can see the relevant information and the effects and benefits of taking action can help push people into the second level of belief, which we'll go into. Level 2, when you know and believe. This is the level where you decide and act. I know that if I save $200 more per paycheck, I can reach my goal on the goal date. It's time to change my 401k contribution. The knowledge, mixed with some inspiration and motivation, leads to action and success. You know you've reached this level when you're in a meeting with a client and they say, the thing is I've always known I should do this, but it makes so much more sense when you put it that way. I'll get that done right away. This is one of those direct results of financial planning: knowledge, belief, and action. People already know a lot about many financial planning topics, but the planning moves them from level 1 to level 2. And then there are complex topics requiring more than level 2, and you move to level 3. Level 3, when you don't know, but still believe. You cannot reach this level alone. You need someone to bring you there. Perhaps the requisite level of base knowledge has not been reached to fully understand a financial planning topic, even when it's presented by an author or a planner skilled at simplifying concepts. This level is reached when you believe the messenger, not the message. You know what? I don't completely understand how this strategy is going to save us taxes over our lifetime, but I believe that if you say it will, it will. Or, I don't understand all the legal jargon in this trust, but if you're telling me that it will do what we want it to do, I believe you. Many people seek to understand a base level of finances and then act only on what they know and believe. Others seek a greater level of expertise to believe and act on levels they cannot know. This is often the complex intersection of investments, tax, estate, and retirement. They can either do the 500 to 1,000 hours of learning required to understand or delegate that to someone else and get actionable beliefs in 5 to 10 hours. Levels 2 and 3 work together, allowing you to believe and act on parts of your plan that you do or do not understand. If you can add the last layer, you will be unstoppable. Belief level number 4, when no one can know, you still believe. Financial planning is all about planning for the future. No one knows the future. Thus, we cannot know that that strategy will work, but we can believe it. For example, I don't know which investment plan will generate the best returns in the long run, but I believe mine will be good as any, better than most. I'm going to stick with it and avoid chasing returns. Or, I don't know which companies are going to succeed long-term and which will fail, but I believe that if I diversify, my collection of businesses will succeed. Or, I don't know that equities will continue their upward permanent trend, but I believe that they will, as they always have. And staying invested is the best course. There is no reason to try and time the market. Or, I don't know when this recession will turn around, but I believe that it will because they always have. Now is not the time to panic. When it comes to planning, there's always an element of what Carl Richards calls irreducible uncertainty. Specific outcomes are unknowable, either by us or by anyone else. There is a level of uncertainty that we cannot overcome. People will pay a lot of money for certainty. They will pay this in high fees for financial products that offer guarantees, but many who are selling certainty ignore the flip side of the coin. The more certainty you want in the short term, the more you lose in the long run. For example, you may purchase an annuity now because it has guarantees of a certain income. Perhaps it even has an inflation rider on it to grow by 2% each year. That gives you some certainty now. But even if you ignore the fact that current income will be lower than you could otherwise get without the guarantee, how certain are you that the 2% increase in income will be sufficient? It will work if inflation averages 2% or less, but what if inflation grows to 3 or 4%? You've traded uncertainty of equity returns for the uncertainty of cost of living. You cannot know which will be worse, and neither can anyone else. At some point, you will need to take action and take a step of faith. You will need to believe that an outcome will happen, even if you don't know when or how. As Nick Murray puts it, I don't know when things will turn out all right. I only believe that they will turn out all right. Historically, those who have maintained belief in the face of irreducible uncertainty and have stuck with a well-built plan have been rewarded. It's time to start believing so that you can start acting. Reject level 1, knowing and not believing. Embrace levels 2, 3, and 4. Believe in what you already know and act on it. Believe in someone you can trust about strategies you don't know and act on them. And believe in historically based future outcomes, which no one can know, and stick to the plan. That is how we succeed. How do we begin believing? This leads to the final point about belief. You can build your belief. If you want to move from knowing many random facts to believing and acting for the good of you and the good of your family, then do these 3 things. Isolate, immerse, and invite. Isolate and follow one strategy. You cannot believe and do anything if you are constantly torn between opposing viewpoints. It's similar to diets. This diet says to eat all red meat because it's packed with protein and numerous other benefits. That diet says to avoid red meat at all costs because it will give you cancer, among numerous other problems. Well, which is it? I guess I'll keep eating the standard American diet. In the same way, you can't follow one strategy that tells you to pay off all your debt and to cash flow your way to wealth, and follow another that says to leverage your home and vehicles to invest the maximum amount. You can't simultaneously purchase additional life insurance in the permanent fashion and also buy term and invest the difference. You cannot follow the 3D retirement income model that I advocate and write about and also buy annuities. Pick one strategy and follow it to the total exclusion of all others. You cannot believe in conflicting strategies. When you pick a strategy, you'll want to make sure it works. It's comprehensive and comes from a minimally conflicted source. In other words, you need a comprehensive plan, backed by a fee-only fiduciary certified financial planner. Immerse yourself in the strategy. Regularly consume content that supports and reinforces the strategy. Read books that align. Listen to podcasts that conform. Continually remind yourself that the strategy you are following is the right one. Do not stray from it or be led astray. Saturate your mind with this one good strategy. It is the primary way you build your belief. I repeat many of the concepts in these podcasts and YouTube channel for this very reason. I don't insert the same phrase over and over to bloat the size of my books or podcasts lengths. I do it to build your belief. A sentence uttered once can be forgotten, and that first time you read a concept, you may know it, but you may forget it. But a second or third time, you start to believe it. And if I can mention it 4 to 7 times, you may actually act on it. In Christianity, there's an emphasis on belief. Knowing God does not make someone Christian. They must believe, and they must continue to build that belief. Followers of Jesus are encouraged to regularly read the Bible, to pray, and to belong to a church community. There's an initial belief in Jesus that makes someone a Christian, and those whose relationship is vital to them know that they need to prioritize it. Their belief will wane under the deluge of opposing worldviews. The only way to maintain that faith that richly adds to their life is to immerse themselves in the scripture, prayer, and like-minded community. The same is true for your financial strategy. It isn't enough to believe it once. You must reinforce and build that belief. And the best way to do that is to immerse yourself in it. Obviously, one can take this concept too far when it's applied to all of life. Only listen to the opinions of one side of an argument is how we get groupthink, otherism, and a host of other problems. Don't apply this concept to every area of your life. I regularly consume content by atheists and sages of other faiths. The political and economic books I read are split evenly between progressive and conservative. I like to hear and study other worldviews, and you should welcome opposing viewpoints in most areas of life. But when it comes to your investments, we can't afford this. Constantly switching investment strategies is how you get killed by the first horseman, chasing returns. Link to that in the description. Abandoning the plan in favor of a new cut your losses strategy is how the fourth horseman, panic, steals half of your life savings with no chance of getting it back. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the horseman, again, we'll have a link down in the description to a link to that video. With your investments, you must find and stick to one strategy to the exclusion of all others and immerse yourself in that strategy. I launched the Retirement Mentorship podcast and YouTube channel for this very reason, to help you immerse you in the cohesive strategy that has historically worked, so you can continue to believe in and act on that plan moving forward. So again, subscribe to the podcast on your favorite player so that you can continue to build your belief. Click subscribe in YouTube if you're watching it there. A diet does not work if you only stick to it for a week. And a financial strategy doesn't work if you only stick to it for a year. Indeed, some strategies don't work until you've stuck with them for decades. It is incredibly unhuman to stick to something alone for that long. For this reason, we need continual reinforcement of the strategy along with help along the way. Invite an accountability partner. People who stick to diets do better when they have someone doing it with them. CrossFit members remain addicted to their gyms because of the community that is there. People work through their typical human issues with the help of a therapist. Do not go it alone for something as crucial as your lifetime financial success. There will be times when you lose faith, and in those times, you need someone who is resolutely steadfast to the plan. They will believe for you when you temporarily cannot. And when their steadfast belief carries you through, you will not only be grateful you did not attempt it alone, but you will also find success. Find someone who believes in the plan more than you do. Stick with them. Isolate and follow one strategy. Immerse yourself in that strategy and invite an accountability partner. That is how you build belief that inspires action that changes lives. Know, then believe, and then act. Which leads us to our next pillar, action, which we'll cover in the next video. We'll see you then. Cheers.